Hi, I'm Pranav.
And I'm Arushi. We will be summarizing the past three classes of quarantine learning writing. In classes 8 and 9, we introduced an activity with which our students would be able to plan a narrative story for themselves. With given setting prompts, we made them understand the importance of planning. Planning is a crucial part of your story writing experience, which will make your story more well connected. The template of this activity and the steps for planning were according to what we taught in class 6 and 7.
The students were partnered up in breakout rooms and were required to work as a team to create a plot with its past, present, and future, come up with a conflict, characterize both physical and emotional qualities, and last but not least, think of hurdles and a climax where that character could be either made or broken. If these terms don't seem familiar to you, please do check out our previous classes 6 and 7 where we discuss these topics. As you can see in this template, um, these were given to each one of our students, and it explains exactly what they have to do in order to plan their class effectively. Um, as you can see, it starts off with a plot. Develop your plot from the prompts given below. The prompts we will discuss later in the class. Conflict, come up with a conflict. Is it emotional or physical? Characters, we each of our students had to come up with two physical attributes and two personality traits for their main character or their protagonist of their story. Now the setting was obviously that we gave them a setting, and the whole point of this activity was to develop a story from a given external setting. And a hurdles, two hurdles they had to come up with in this short period of time. One obviously leads to a failure, the second one leads to a climax. Now of course in the climax it can either be a failure or another success. That is, the character is either made or broken. And this dictates how the ending is either sad or happy. And that
So,
was the template.
yeah. So for this activity, we gave, as we said, setting prompts to all of our students. So here are the setting prompts that the students were provided with in the class. There were many. And so let's start to explain them. So the first one is a battleground. So we gave the students an example of a battleground as their starting setting, so they could get an idea of where to start their story. So their time span was a few hours, so they would have to start and finish their story within, as said, 4 to 5 hours at the end of a battle. So we give a background of the main character, which is the main character of your story is experiencing his or her first battle as as he was a trained soldier. Your character is inexperienced and feels many different emotions throughout the battle. So that was the first prompt.
Uh,
And
our second prompt, all of these are set to be short stories because we didn't want to write an entire long story, like entire long book like story. Our second prompt was the setting. The setting was a crowded city. The time span was one evening and a night. The background of the main character, the character and their dad slash mom are walking in a busy plaza when they have an argument, and your character runs away and gets lost in the crowd. What will your character find as they walk the busy streets alone?
yeah, so that's the second prompt. The third prompt is camping at night. So your time span for this story is overnight, from the evening where the sun is setting till the point where it's the morning of the next day. So it's overnight. And the background of the main character is that the character was hoping to enjoy the peace of nature after a very busy and hectic week at work or school or whatever you would want, and only to be met with the unexpected. Now it's up to you, a writer, to explain or understand what is the unexpected and to create a whole plot around this one setting. So, yeah, let's move forward.
Our fourth prompt was set. The setting was all alone at home. The time span was one night. It was from the day before they sleep and then until they wake up. Um, you say goodnight to your loving family and go to sleep one night. And the next thing you know, you wake up in an abandoned house in a place you have never seen before, and it's still the night. How did you get here? Is it a dream? Is there a way out? All of these are questions to get your creative juices flowing as you build an entire story, and you can maybe it's more tending towards the horror genre of literature.
Right. So we also provided pictures. So here's a picture of our fifth prompt, and our fifth prompt is a magic island. So the time span of your story is one full day from morning to evening. Um, so they say you can choose to believe in magic, but is it really a choice? Your main character has always been stubborn about the idea that magic is a foolish lie and a waste of time until she or he is stranded on the magic island. So, your character can possibly wake up one day and find themselves stranded in on a magic island. So there's definitely a way you can create a whole plot around this and something that you can, get ideas from. So our sixth
Our
prompt.
sixth and last prompt for this entire activity was setting was lost in a dark cave. The time span of our story was one day, say morning till evening or towards the night. Your best friend went exploring one day into a mysterious cave in the outskirts of town and hasn't returned for a week. Nobody is willing to go look for them as the cave is believed to be haunted. So you set out into the cave to look for them yourself. Of course, you can make this into a fantasy type story, or it could be a more real version of being in a cave, whatever. It's up to the person who chose the prompt.
Yeah. So now that all of these prompts are over, in case any of you watching this video would like to use the prompts, please feel free to go back and understand the prompts and try to write a story yourself.
Okay, and so once we were paired, all the people in our class were paired up. We divided them into breakout rooms, which is private Zoom calls, and then we checked into each team's breakout room like periodically to assist them with building their stories and clearing any doubts that they may have during this entire process. Classes 8 and 9 was spent finishing up this activity. Now, moving forward to class 10, all of the teams were asked to explain their story plans to the rest of the students. Then we had an open discussion about of each story, how it had been built according to the plan, and how it could be improved. This entire class was just us talking to the students and them expressing what they had done the past two classes.
Yeah. So overall, the students were then asked to write down their stories based on their plans and email it to us. The stories the students came up with were actually very creative and actually very brilliant. And we loved being a part of the whole process by going into their breakout rooms and discussing things with them.
And even appreciating the story at the end, the final product of these three classes was amazing to see. Anyway, so this was the last class of quarantine learning writing. We hope you had as much fun learning as we did teaching.
Make sure to keep writing and expressing yourselves with your creativity and emotions whenever you can.
Thank you so much for being a part of quarantine learning.
Thank you.